Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am Iski Tawhir Ahmed, a student of Computer Science and Engineering at Shahjalal University of Science and Technology. Today, I will be presenting a video on aggregate spending in a two-sector model. I hope this video helps you understand the key concepts clearly. Let's get started. Consumption function. Consumption function represents the relationship between consumption expenditure and disposable income. It is given by C equal f of y equals C naught plus small c y. Here C naught equal autonomous consumption. What is autonomous consumption? Autonomous consumption is the minimum level of consumption that occurs even when income is zero. This means that even if a person has no earning, they still need to consume essential goods like food, shelter, and medical care. Here, small c equal dc by dy. It is called marginal propensity to consume, short form MPC. Here, MPC shows how much consumption increase with additional income. Here, Y represents the income. The graphical representation of consumption function. Here, consumption function C equals C naught plus CY. Here, x-axis represents the income Y and the y-axis represents the consumption C. Here, the intersection C naught is where the line meets the y-axis. This represents the autonomous consumption, which is the consumption level when income is zero. The slope of the line C represents the marginal propensity to consume MPC, which determines how much consumption increase with additional income. The consumption function is an upward sloping straight line, indicating a positive relationship between income and consumption. Saving function, it shows the relationship between the level of saving and income. We know that the total income equal consumption plus saving, means Y equal C means consumption plus saving, S for saving. Then we rearrange it and we can get Y minus C. So we can then we find Y minus C naught minus CY, because the consumption function equal C naught plus CY. We can rearrange it minus C naught plus 1 by 1 minus C into Y. Here 1 minus C equal beta. Here beta equal ds by dy, marginal propensity to save, short form MPS. Then graphical representation of saving function. The saving function is an upward sloping line. It starts below zero because people may initially save, borrow or use saving. As the income increases, the saving across the zero mark and become positive. The Slope of the function is 1 minus c, the MPS, meaning the more people save from each additional unit of income, the steeper the line. Investment function. The investment function is a summary of the variable that influence the levels of aggregate investment. Here, GDP equal C plus I plus G plus NX. Here, C equal consumption. G represents the government spending and NX represent net export, which equal X minus M. Here, X equal export and M equal import. So we can rearrange it and we can write it I equal GDP minus C minus Z minus NX. Investment is as a function of income and interest rates. So we can write I equal f of y comma r. This means that I is the function of y comma r. Means y and r are the independent variable and I is dependent variable. Here I equal investment and y equal GDP and r equal interest rate. So investment function is the related to with r. So we can write I equal I naught minus RS. Here I naught represents autonomous investment, R represent interest rate, S equal interest sensitivity. Here the equation I equal I naught minus RA is, we can say that investment is inversely related to interest rates, meaning lower interest rates encourage more investment. Graphical representation of investment function. We know that investment function I equal I naught minus RA. From the function, we can say that the function is downsloping, meaning when interest rates rise, the investment falls because borrowing cost increases. When interest rates fall, the investment rises as long as loans become cheaper for businesses. The steepness of the curve depends on age. If investment is very sensitive to interest rates, the slope is steeper. Autonomous investment. Autonomous investment is the expenditure on capital formation, which is depend on of the change in income and rate of interest or rate of profit. More formally, we can say that if a person has no earning, they still need to consume essential goods like food, shelter, and medical care. Graphical representation of autonomous investment. The graph shows a horizontal investment line, meaning that investment remain constant. This represents autonomous investment, which is the minimum level of investment that occurs even when income changes. Investment which depends on economic growth. Autonomous investment does not fluctuate with income. Equilibrium output in the two-sector model. We know that in a two-sector model, equilibrium occurs when aggregate output Y equals aggregate expenditure the equivalent condition, we write y equal c plus I. Then we can write y equals c naught plus by plus I naught, because we know that consumption function c equal c naught plus by, and we can write I equal I naught because this is a equilibrium position. Then we rearrange it and we can write y equal 1 divided by 1 minus b into c naught plus I naught. Here c naught plus I naught is known as autonomous spending, and 1 by 1 minus b is the multiplier, expenditure multiplier. It is a ratio that compares the overall change in a national GDP driven by an autonomous change in aggregate spending to the change in spending. Here we can write del y equal m into del I. Here del y represent the percentage change in income, y represent expenditure multiplier, and del I equal percentage change in investment. Mathematically explanation of expenditure multiplier. These are the 4 assumptions that are essential before calculating expenditure multiplier. Price of goods is constant. Interest rate is constant. Government spending is 0. Imported and imports and exports are 0. From the equilibrium in two-sector model, we know y equal 1 minus MPC into C naught plus I naught. Here B equal MPC, marginal propensity to consume. Expenditure multiplier equal dy by di equal 1 by 1 minus b equal 1 by 1 minus MPC. Here 1 divided by 1 minus MPC equal 1 by MPS. Thank you very much for watching my video. Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz.